that being seen is so big.
Yeah.
That being seen and then validated and being told I'm doing a good enough job,
Mm-hmm.
or I did really good. Like I want to hear that. I want to hear it in a specific people because I don't think I ever heard it from my parents.
Yeah.
So I look for it in everything else I do, which is mostly, like in my household. I could say that, like within my children, I want them to validate me, and say, hey, you're doing an amazing job.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Like, you
Yes,
have me
like
so, yeah,
yes.
girl, I
And I'm
know.
like,
I
but I'm
know.
not. I'm not. Why? I'm not supposed to be doing it for that reason,
I know.
right? Like
That too.
it's
That
just,
too.
but it's hard. It's hard not to go back to what we know.
Welcome to the Delulu Magic Podcast, where we delulu our mindset and create the most magical version of our lives. I'm Paola.
And I'm Gabby, and we want to welcome everybody today to the Delulu crew. Today we're going to be having a little moment of reflecting.
Yes.
We've had a lot of fun things happening here at Delulu that we've worked on for a couple of months, right?
Yeah.
And well, almost, oh my gosh, almost 2 weeks ago, we had our first event that we planned with our team, and it happened here at the studios, and it was pretty amazing. So we wanted to both sit and kind of give our intake on what it meant for each one of us.
First, I think it was just crazy that literally we filmed our very first podcast. I think it was like February 7th because we wanted to have it
By
posted by like
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's
Yeah.
Day. And, we thought it was a little crazy. We set a date. We were like, April 17th, let's have this event. And we did it.
We
And so
got
I'm
it done.
super proud of us.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Proud is the word. Proud is the word.
And, it just goes to show like you set an intention. And I think sometimes things can get like really scary or they seem really big. And just breaking it up into little bite size,
Yeah.
I think totally helped. Also, having an amazing team
Of course.
absolutely
Yes.
helped. So it was a ton of fun. So many ladies came. But for me, the biggest takeaway was, and we'll go over like what we did, but it was after the event. Just like
Mhm.
how everyone felt and like the connection. And I feel that's one of the reasons we created Delulu Magic. I feel like we're all looking for connection
Mhm.
and just to be able to feel heard and seen and like, hey, you're going through the same thing I'm going through and you were vulnerable. And you know what? I'm going to be vulnerable in the things that I think as well. Because
Yeah.
I think that's one of the hardest things we all go through life. And we're sitting here, it's like, oh, how was your day? And it's always, even sometimes with like good friends, like you
Mhm.
go to dinner and it's all superficial. Yeah, this is how work is going. This is how things are with the kids and the husband. And maybe you complain a little bit, but it's like, how are you? How is your soul? How are you really doing?
Does anybody do that?
Yeah.
I'm just,
And sometimes we're carrying so much.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that people were able to, when you're able to share that, it just takes a little bit of
The
a
weight.
burden. Yeah. The
weight.
weight that,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah. Yeah.
talk
Because
about
we,
feeling
we
heavy.
continuously do that, right? So, yeah. So I'm very grateful that we were able to do the event and to invite, a group of ladies to come and be here with us. And especially that everybody was so receptive to all, the activities we did, and seeing that just feeling that energy in the room. And even we also did some outdoor stuff. It just felt really empowering. It was a good feeling. It was, you could feel the lightness in everybody that came.
Mm-hmm.
That there was just feeling like they were part of something, like they were connecting. And it was people from like we had different age groups.
Yeah.
And different, obviously, just how where they are in life, but they all showed up and did what they needed to, and they were very open to it, which, that within itself is, very cool to
Mm-hmm.
see, for women, and that they accommodated it to be here with us. So that still feels pretty incredible, like looking back, and it was so fun. That was too a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I heard a lot of women, and, I know some of the people we spoke with, especially one, she was a mom with 4 kids, pretty busy, obviously. And
Hmm.
she looked in great shape. And we were doing yoga. And I was like, oh, God, do you do yoga all the time? And she was like, no, with the 4 kids, I'm always like, taking them back and forth.
Hmm.
And, with the job she has. And she was like, it was nice to be able to take a moment for herself.
Oh my gosh!
right?
And
And
I
I
think
think
I
she's been,
actually think she lives the
oh
furthest.
my God, in Brentwood, yeah,
According, yeah, yeah. They
super
said
far.
she made the time and she drove over here, and I was very impressed with that itself. That she made the time, she committed to it, and she stayed, and she really enjoyed it, and that just shows us that a lot of us are looking to do that and trying to find places or things to do that will give us that
Yeah.
fulfillment.
It was interesting though, like you said, so many people in different places of our life, of their lives, because even another one, she's like maybe late 20s, early
Hmm.
30s, baby that's 8 months
Yes.
old. And I saw her so much in like, I think in
Yes.
us,
Yeah.
in the, you have a baby and all you do is like, and you should, obviously that's your child, you love your child, like
Hmm.
with everything, but nobody kind of explains that, hey, you still need to take, or they tell you, but you still, like,
Who
it doesn't
does?
resonate.
I
Who does
never
no
heard
nobody
that. I'm
tells you?
like, no, I never heard any of it. I'm like, who
Your
says
family was
take
like,
it?
you
I just, I did, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I
oh
was like,
no.
I feel like for me, like, even like, I will say it like culturally, it was like, you're now a mother, and so now you're going to be this. And then I put my own expectations on myself and created this unsurmountable amount of work and burdens on myself because I never heard, if anything, if I thought to do anything for myself, it felt selfish. It
Yeah.
felt like I was taking away from what I needed to be, which priority number one was to be just a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it, but I will be very honest, it was the hardest thing. It's still the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. Don't know how to, most days I'm just winging it. Thanks to ChatGPT, I'm learning to just, get better at it. but
Yes.
but it's, but going back to her, finish telling her,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think that I knew who you're talking about, and I love her so much, but it was so good to see her
Right. And you could
here.
see it
You
though,
could
like right
see
from
that she
before
just,
the
of
baby,
course,
right?
because we knew her. She's like our baby too.
Yeah, for sure. No, and to see her and
Yeah.
she's like, oh, I'm gonna try to make it, but I have to find somebody to watch the baby, which I totally
Yes.
get.
Yeah.
And, she sent a message after,
Yeah.
and it'll make you cry because she was like, you just don't understand how much I've needed that. Like, I've just been in this cocoon at
Yes.
home with the
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
And, she's like, almost feel like I'm losing like myself. Like, I don't know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
She's like, this gave me like the courage to like do more and
Yes.
step out. And I love that. And I totally get what you're
Yeah.
saying too about you because, we've been
Yeah.
best friends since we were 14 and you started having babies way
Yes. Yeah. I
earlier.
was
You
a
got
child
married
bride
at
according to my daughter.
21. Child,
It's like, thanks. Child bride. These are the things they tell me. I'm like, I thank you.
you got married at 21 and
Yeah.
had, the
Yeah.
babies. And I remember literally one day we were going out and we were going to go do
Yes.
something. And, I think it's that guilt.
Of
I
course,
think it
the
was a
certificate.
text, yeah, from,
Yeah, no,
or
no,
it
but
was
every,
a
I think you
call or
guys,
something.
we'll finish. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there were so many stories.
And
But
we
yeah,
literally like circled back
yes.
around and I totally got it. I was like, yeah, but that guilt sometimes eats at us. And I still
Of,
like, I have guilt for not being around or not being able to pick them up or not being able to do things. And my kids are, 17 now and 15. And that was like 10 years ago. And I still am like, oh God, why didn't,
I didn't come that day. You had like flag football or something. Like, I didn't show
like
up. Is that
I
why you
should have
feel
cloned
bad?
myself somehow and, been able to like juggle it all. Society puts so much
So hard.
on women.
It's so
We
hard.
were just saying,
Yeah.
or I was just saying, I was watching this show with my husband. And it was like these ladies, it was like back in the 40s or 50s. Um, and I was like, do you think life was easier for women back then or now? He's like, well, I think back then, like took care of the kids, like, they're just, kind of hosting this party. And I'm like, yeah, but now we have to take care of the kids. We have to cook. We have to also clean. We also have to like look all put together,
Then you forgot the
right?
most important one.
Forgot, God forbid, yeah.
You could go out and work and be a career woman,
And
and you got it all together, and you still better be smiling and be happy because you have it all.
yeah, and you got to coordinate all the kids' birthdays, all the Christmas presents,
Oh God,
all
be a
the.
lifelong admin. That's
It,
it. That's like, who said that? And decide what everybody's gonna eat for the rest of eternity.
it's insane.
God, I hate that.
But in Delulu Magic,
Yes, but in our world, we're trying to now say what we don't like. We're trying to create.
Yeah.
We're creating our own reality now, where it's not these roles anymore.
And so I think it's if you can earlier, like if I would have learned this earlier, like putting those expectations and like kind of mapping out my life, like one of the things that we've talked
Yeah.
about. So this is where the tip comes in because I
Yes.
know right now we've
Yes.
just been venting on, on other stuff. But it's figuring out even before you're married, in your 20s, if you can do this, like,
Mhm.
right before even relationships, it's like, how would I want to be treated? How would I want my ideal relationship to
To
be?
look like,
Yeah. Oh, okay. My husband would
yeah,
be, super
your partner,
supportive and
whatever.
a
Yeah,
partner in my life and help me. We would do chores together. We would, discipline the kids together or, do these certain things, right?
but
Like,
these are
so really,
conversations people do have when they go through like actual like a good relationship like that. We did
no
not.
one told
What?
me this.
Why? Because saying you went in like
I was like,
I
I
got
love
married.
you. You
Yes, I
love
love you, and
me.
that's gonna get us through it all. And well, for the most part, it does, right? But actual people, like normal humans, I think that go into partnerships do have these conversations and they figure out, hey, is this like a person that's going to be doing these ABC? Am I going to be doing ABC? Or do we fit together? Do we match? Where we were just like honeymoon phase and it's like, I will figure it out as it shows up. And then you don't even know yourself. I don't,
I didn't know. Yeah.
I tell my husband often and now I laugh about it, but I'm like, I am not the person you married.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of her left, but I am not. Of course, how could I be? I've been like 100,000 people at this point,
Hmm.
you know? So many roles and figuring out, and now I'm even now figuring out who I am. Like the conversation when I asked him about how long do you think you could make it without me being around him? He's like, oh, 2 weeks. And I'm like, I want like a sabbatical. Like I want like so I want to take
Go like,
like I want to go do
I
a
want to eat,
semester
pray,
abroad,
love.
things like
That's
that.
the
But because I didn't get to do all that, so I get
yeah.
what you're saying. The tip, what you're saying, get to know yourself. I think it's very important. And finding from our event, our first one, which was like a mini camp, we'll call it, right? Just
Hmm.
having that engagement with ladies and you and I speaking, that was a big moment too that I felt like you were very vulnerable and I'm so thankful for that you did that because it's I know there's certain things that both of us still feel very, we're going to hold it close to our hearts,
Yeah.
but you put yourself here in this chair and you were able to share that with a group of people to make them know that hey, if you're going through that, I'm still here. Like
Yeah.
it's not the end. Like if anything, I'm gonna, I can show you what I've done, and maybe that's gonna help you. And you're gonna go home.
Yeah.
And what it did for the young mom that had the baby, she came and did something for herself, and it showed her she could act. It was okay. It was okay. She had a great time, and she talked, and she sees
Yeah.
older moms,
Connection.
and she's like, okay, maybe I should listen to what they're kind of saying and take advice and try to implement that. But really finding yourself is a big thing.
Hmm.
Finding yourself because I think that leads into those conversations because I see some young couples and they're like, it just works. And I'm like, well, how did you guys do it? But I have another friend that is middle aged and she made me laugh. We went for a walk and we were talking. And I think I told you what she repeated to me, but it was like about this, about the we're gonna call it the household management, right? And she's
Hmm.
like, it's however it's done at the beginning, that's how it's gonna go. Because if you don't, if it's like whoever woke up the first day with that baby, that's the one that's gonna get it. Whoever did the dishes, that's the one because nobody spoke up. And I'm like, but I did. And she's like, but did you? And I was thinking of myself, and I laugh a lot about that. We can laugh with my husband now, but man, those first few years, like I think you went through it too, but it was like it's your turn.
Hmm.
It's like it's your turn, and and then he would go to work, and I remember there was a point that I was more at home, and I just remember I was like, "What do you mean you want to go to the fucking gym? Like I cannot. You. How dare you want to go work out?" It wasn't like he was saying, but I remember being so angry because I wouldn't leave to go to the gym because I felt guilty,
Hmm.
and then take him to the gym like most normal people. No, he's gonna get sick. There's all the germs. He's gonna get disease. Somebody's gonna hit him. And then I was so like now it's funny, but I was just kind of cuckoo. And nobody had no I didn't know myself. I didn't know how to be a mother. Like I remember what you said in one episode. It was like we need to have those
Yeah.
classes, conversations, go and be around people that have children and see what you like about what they do or not. And doesn't it can be your own family, it can be friends you have, or go, I don't know. Somebody needs to teach people
Some.
because it is not it's the hardest job and you feel so guilty
Hmm.
for the most microscopic things. But as you get older, and if you have me, I have a lot of children, so you kind of feel like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing, but you're still going to feel guilty every single, like you just said. I mean, I feel guilty because, I went to bed and I didn't say goodnight to, number four. I forgot about
She didn't wake
number
up.
one.
Didn't wait.
Did I see a child? Did I? And it's just that perpetual of like not feeling secure in my role or what I've done and wanting validation because I'm still learning who I am or what I need. And I'm going to be 47.
Yeah.
It's still crazy. And sitting here that day, we sat after outside with a group of ladies that stayed, and everybody, we all hardly knew each other, but everybody was so vulnerable,
Yeah, it was beautiful.
and it was just, I hate to use the word, but then it makes you feel like, okay, well, I'm normal. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I'm not broken. I'm
I'm
not
not
crazy.
broken. I'm not, I don't, it's not, I'm not awful. Like, that's a lot of things that we
Mhm.
carry as women.
Yeah. I
So,
I think so many of us, like, I think, and I don't, if it's
yeah.
everybody, but so many women, especially right, late 30s,
Yeah.
mid 40s,
Mm,
you start going through this. You're looking for something. You're feeling that little burnout, or like, almost like
mhm,
something's breaking down, or right, you feel something is happening, and sometimes that's necessary for you to get to the other side. And I think that's what we wanted to show, that we've gone through some like shit that
mhm,
I think was very, very hard.
mhm,
And it is interesting that life, the universe, God shows you these patterns that are like subconscious, like these old wounds.
mhm.
And it kind of repeats until you start paying attention. And that's, I think, what happened
Yes.
to us. And it's a way to show people, hey, if you just can address it and actually like reflect on it, you can come out better and bigger and brighter, and just like let that light shine that you have.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what so many of us do. It's like you let it tear you down,
Mhm.
and you forget that there is hope, there is that other side, and we get like stuck in it,
Well,
you
yeah, you
know?
can't even see because you don't even know, right? Because you don't, again, you don't
Yeah.
know. So if you don't, and you don't go through it or acknowledge it, or like, it really, it's like educating yourself or finding out, going deep, like what's happening. And it's the big part of, right? It's the
Mhm.
reflecting, like what is it? Sometimes it can take months or years for you to know, okay, this is what I need. But I have found for me, it's been like finding myself,
Mhm.
going through all that is finding myself. I always thought it was like finding what I needed to do for everybody else. How can I accommodate it and all that, and then I'm gonna be okay. And now I'm like, well, if I'm not okay, God, it's so
Exactly.
dumb. Like, it's like,
We
if
did
you're
so
not okay,
backwards.
honey.
We did it so bad. But that's part of the learning. And I
Yeah.
do, so we've come up with like 4 R's that
Yes.
we, after going through years of therapy, years of like rewiring work, and coming up with the Lulu magic. And so the first one is reflect. So to
Mm-hmm.
reflect, to reflect, hey, what are your subconscious wounds? What are your childhood, traumas? Not even huge traumas, like the little
Well,
T's,
no,
like
and
Gabby
actually,
calls them,
like all of the things, the little things, but there's a lot in there,
your
and it's just like,
beliefs.
how were you raised? What did you see in your house? What did like? Let's go into what we use as an example. Like, was there like a partnership between your parents, where did you have one parent was doing more and all that? Because without meaning to, you become that, right? You
Exactly.
reenact it. You think I would never be that, and then lo and behold, you get to your mid 20s, 30s, and you're like, here I am, whatever parent,
Hmm.
but that I said I wasn't going to be.
And even if you
Yeah.
discuss it, like you said,
Yeah.
like let's say, oh, wow, like now I think a
Yes.
lot more people discuss it. Hey, we're going to have the responsibilities. You're
Yes.
going to do half, I'm going to do half.
Yeah.
But honestly, a lot of what we say isn't what we do,
Mm.
because what we do is really done by our subconscious. 95% of what we do every day
Yes.
is led
It's
by our subconscious. So even if I say, oh, okay,
yeah.
husband, like,
Yeah.
great, I'm not gonna, like, you're gonna
Here's the
also
chart.
cook, and you're gonna somehow, like, the way I was brought up was, it was very, my mom was the one
Mhm.
cooking, my mom was the one cleaning. It was very
Your
like the
responsibility. Yeah.
hierarchical, like, kind of thing. We're Colombian. And I used to like watch her, and I'd be like, God, mom, like, you're always serving. Let's say we were watching a show. She would sit down. It was always like this whole like joke at the time, like, oh, you always sit down at the very end of the show. Like, how
Oh,
did I,
pobrecita.
and she would laugh too. And now, then I would find myself doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
Like, right, by the time I'm
Yeah.
sitting down to watch something with you guys, it's already like halfway done, because, oh, can I get popcorn? Oh, can I get this? Okay, do y'all have feet?
Yeah.
Can y'all get it too? I'm just saying.
Can you bring me something, as a matter of fact?
Yes. But, and even like when I met my husband, it was funny. He wasn't really, like that. And I remember one of the things that I liked, I was like, oh, hey, I'm gonna get myself something to drink. Like, do you want
Yeah.
something? We were dating at
Mm.
the time. And he's like, oh, I'll get it. Like, what do you want? He's like, do you also want something to eat? And I
Yeah.
was like,
Look at
okay. I was like, all
you.
right. But then what did I do? I
Yeah.
went into
You
like
took
my
over. Yeah.
whole programming of, no, I'm the female. I'm going
Gotta
to
take care of you.
do and
Yeah.
serve and take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, you get them used to that,
Yeah.
right? And so it is being very, again, reflecting on those things so that you can not only be like, okay, I'm aware of this, but how am I going to now recode,
Mm-hmm.
like rewire my brain to be like,
Mm-hmm.
I am worthy, I am
Yes.
enough,
Yeah.
I should also be taken
Yeah.
care of, right? And this is equal. Like, you are not above me, I'm not above you. We're in an equal
Mm-hmm.
partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just like have the conversation but you don't recode,
Well, yeah, but it's like I think going
then
back, it's like you have to reconnect kind of with yourself what you want. Like you actually have to do that work. Like you
yeah.
can, the reflecting is like, okay, figure it out. But like the reconnecting is you better reconnect with yourself and what you want. And a lot of it is going to look like, let me write it down. Let me talk about it. Let me look into it. Let me
Mhm.
learn about it. And then like start applying it. Because if you don't really know what you want, then you can't just come in like and be like, okay, I want things to be a different path without actually knowing what you want. Because some of us would be like, okay, I'm good with having these.
Yeah.
I will do certain things, and that's because that's how my is, right? Like
Yeah.
my personality, my spirit wants to do that. But certain things I don't no longer want to do that. That why am I doing that? Because subconsciously I think that's who I should be,
Mhm.
right? Because of what you're saying, and
Or I want the pat on the back,
yes,
or
or the gold star. But no, my gosh, I saw Melly posted like a reel. I think it was like a therapist, but it was like the award thing, and I was like, she hit it on the nail. I was like, you were not gonna get the award because you did the most, because you sacrificed the most, because you fed everybody. Because I was like, well, no, we're never gonna get our gold star. There's not gonna be like a big award show and be like,
at the
she
end there's
did
no.
it all.
I'm
Here
walking
comes.
across the stage in my.
Wear your gown. What did you do? I took care of everybody, and I feel like shit, but I did it. I took care of everybody.
Did it all.
I did it all. No. So, like, really, really, the first, I think, in the beginning, like you said, I keep using the word reflecting on all the things, so you could start implementing those changes
Yeah.
for and we're part of that too. We're sitting here in this process right with everybody.
Mhm.
We most days we have to, right?
Yeah, you have
Every
to
week we
remind
have to
yourself.
like sit there and be like, okay, what is it? If situation arises, what do you do now?
Yeah.
Do you sit with it for a while
I do. I
and
do.
then
Yeah, I kind of like either if it's a big
yeah.
situation, I breathe through it. Like I'll journal.
Hmm. So you're
Kind of,
reflecting
yeah,
on it,
like
and
yeah,
then you're
definitely
able
that.
to connect.
And then trying to figure out, what is this trigger telling me? Like, what is
Hmm.
this
Yeah.
trigger? Like, where is it taking me to my like little self? Is it
Hmm.
this 8-year old Paola? Is this 5-year old, or
Hmm.
is this teenager Paola? Like,
Yeah.
why is this ticking me off so much? And I've noticed that certain things, like I used to be,
Yeah.
a very jealous person. Like, ever since I was little, I never know. It's like, and there's certain things that you're like, oh, that's just me. That's just
That's
my
my yeah.
personality. It's not. Sometimes we learn, these are learned traits. It really
Oh
are.
my gosh.
And I was able to pinpoint kind of
A
back,
time?
and I swear it like went like
Did
even
it
like with
free
my
you?
kids, like because I wanted to be like,
Did
I
it
want you
free
to
you?
love me the most, because yeah, it was like the being seen thing. It did, and it
Oh
feels like,
my
God,
gosh.
yes, thank God,
What
because
a get it.
it's annoying to
Yes.
be a certain way, and you're like, when you're like,
It
that
doesn't make
I'm even annoying myself. Like, I'm
sense.
even annoyed that I'm this way. Why am I this way, right? And you're like, this is just the way I am. But to be able to go, and it took that reparenting
Hmm.
again, that like, and that's part of the reflecting. And it is work, but it is so worth it. In the earlier, I'm telling you, if you are in your early 20s, like the earlier you do it, it takes work. And that's what I didn't want to
Yeah.
do. When
Yeah.
people were like, write down what you want, everything, this was in
Yeah.
college, in every aspect of your life, and like the little balance chart, I was like, I just want the money part. Like, and then if I make enough, everything else will
Will be perfect.
will be perfect, because
Yep.
I'll take care of everything. Like, then my health will be good
Yeah.
because I'll have time to work
Yeah.
out, then this. But it's not like that. You really have to not only write how you want it to be, but go into certain things and be like, why is it that I have these beliefs, and what are my limiting beliefs? Because I'm telling you, if you don't fix that, you will continue repeating the same patterns until they get so loud and rock you so hard
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
it like brings you to your knees, and you're just like, what in the F
And you
is
still have to do the
going
work.
on? And then you have to deal with it anyway.
You still
And
have
you're
to
like,
do
well,
it.
I should have dealt with that shit
Should
back
have skipped
then.
all that and just,
Yeah.
got in myself where I could handle it. And,
I mean, do you agree?
of course, of course. I mean, of course, that is what you're saying. I'm like, that is such a good thing. And I'm finding I receive that too because I'm like, no, I can't avoid it, can't go around it. You better just go through it and find and figure it out. That like that's an amazing one too. But I have many triggers that I still have like a hard time, and I'm like, is it because now or is it you know young
Okay.
adult or child and all that and I'm able to find them, but not a lot. I want freedom too.
You want?
I don't want to feel. I don't want to annoy myself with my
Yeah.
behaviors. Like, go away. Like, why? That being seen is so big.
Yeah.
That being seen and then validated and being told I'm doing a good enough job,
Mm-hmm.
or I did really good. Like, I want to hear that. I want to hear it in a specific people because I don't think I ever heard it from my parents.
Yeah.
So I look for it in everything else I do, which is mostly, like in my household. I could say that like within my children, I want them to validate me and say, "Hey, you're doing an amazing job."
Yeah. Thank you so much. Like,
Yes,
help me
like
so. Yes,
yes.
girl. I
And I'm
know.
like,
I
but
know.
I'm not. Why? I'm not supposed to be doing it for that reason,
I
right?
that too. That too.
But it's hard. It's hard not to go back to what we know. So definitely start with the first R,
Mm-hmm.
which is go in.
Going hard. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you have to go as deep as you can, and we're going to come out with some stuff that I
Yeah.
think will help people at least to start that process.
Yes.
So in order to kind of reflect
And
and
things you
figure
can
out.
actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know because I know I spoke to one of our team members and she said she found journaling hard. So I was like, we're gonna have to figure out things that not a lot of people. I know it's hard. It feels hard. Like it feels like another task or something that you're like, oh, I have to sit down and like write this. But I mean, it could be journaling in your phone, like a voice note. It could be on your notes. It could be, just
Mm-hmm.
doing some other things. Like there is so many methods to go actually and do
Yeah.
that work to go into figure out what's causing you to have these moments. But we're so grateful
Yes.
for Delulu Magic and obviously our Delulu Day Camp. We're so excited for everything that we're going to continue building. And now you
Yes.
can finish up for us.
Yes. And one of the things with Delulu Magic obviously is we do Delulu ourselves into being like, hey, like now I walk around the house and I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful that my husband helps out. Like I am now, like,
Same.
right? Not now, but like over the past
Yeah.
year. And that has shifted. Like I do see, and I ask for help a lot more.
Creating your
Yeah, like
reality.
I'm saying, hey, I could use you, doing maybe on this day and that day.
Mhm.
But creating my reality, but again, you still have to go back and reflect so that you can figure out and really like uncover all that and then continue being Delulu because you want to live in the energy of whatever it is that you want to attract, right? We want to,
Yes.
that it helps it come faster if you don't have a relationship and you want to attract a certain type of person. But in that, you have to become the type of person that attracts that type of person.
You have to
right?
do it.
You have to be
You have to take action.
in that energy. And to be in that energy, you do have to reflect. And that's why we talk so much about that. It's almost like you can't, so many people talk about manifestation. But in order to really manifest something, you have to go back to the past. You have to uncover that and finally expose those limiting beliefs
The blocks.
so that you can kind of like be free of it, recode your brain, and now you like catapult so much like forward.
Yeah.
And that's when you can really attract and like be the vessel that like can be open and allow these things to come in and you can like receive everything. So I wanted to end with that. We appreciate you guys so much. And thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and like.
And remember, nothing changes unless you do.
So stay Delulu and make it happen.
See you next time.